Take one. Hi guys, welcome to the channel. Behind me is a Pulsar GTi-R, named as the baby Godzilla. So to get a nickname like that, you gotta be a pretty great car, and this is a pretty great car. Last week or last month we shot the CRX, which kind of the 90s pocket rocket, and we're continuing the theme. We got this little thing over here. I'll let the owner explain a bit more. Obviously, it's got a SO20 DET, it's got the Atessa, am I saying that correct? 4-wheel drive system. I did my research, and then there was about 14,136 is what they say on the internet. Some people say 13,000. And then another thing we really have to mention, because I know Nissans as well, is that gear knob.
It's an original, yes.
Yeah,
OEM
that caught my eye. When I saw that gear knob and I looked at the condition of the gear knob,
it's actually, like, it's not old, that's why it's still in good condition. So, again, this is why this is a look that I'm going for. Yeah. For me, nothing beats OEM. Yeah. You know, OEM is always the best and will be the best when it comes to parts. And this was the same shape rally wheel the WRC cars used to run. Yeah. So again, this is why I wanted this steering wheel. Just try to keep the rally theme as well. Hey guys, how you going? My name's Lee, and this is my 1994 Nissan Pulsar GTi-R. So guys, yeah, as the intro said, this is my 1994 Nissan Pulsar GTi-R. Been a long history with this car, as a passion for me personally. I've always wanted one. It's always been my dream JDM car, and I'm very lucky, I should say, to own one. And you know, I strive to keep these cars, the name alive, its legacy alive. We obviously cannot compare to the GTR, but in its own right, the Pulsar GTi-R is a 90s JDM icon, and always will be. So, a bit of the backstory to me in this car was I've always wanted one since, you know, the Gran Turismo 1 days on PlayStation 1, the good old disc and the controller. And you know, I always used to pick that car. I'd buy one in every colour in the used car lot, and my fascination started from there. So my dad actually had old VHS videos of the GTi-R in the European rallies in the early 90s, after they had after Nissan Motorsport had discontinued their program in the World Rally Championship. They moved over to Europe and done a few rallies in Europe, and were quite successful up against the Escort Cosworth and the Lancia Deltas, and actually snagged a few race wins, especially in Belgium, I'm pretty sure, as well. So they had success, and it's pretty disappointing looking at it now, what this car probably could have been had Nissan stuck at it for a couple more years of development. But you know, it is what it is, and they all wanted to concentrate on the GTR for obvious reasons. It was a legendary touring car in its own right. So, but back to the story of me wanting one of these. You know, it's stemmed since I was 14 or 15 years old. I didn't want any other JDM car. This was the car that I wanted. I always liked being a little bit different from the crowd as well. So, you know, when I was finishing up high school, you know, late 2004, early 2005, I had just gotten my license, and my dad would take me, for those who know, in Sydney, Parramatta Road, where all the Japanese car yards used to be. Not many exist anymore, they're all gone. And there used to be, you know, quite a few of these back in the day for sale, and even back then they were going for a lot of money. And obviously I had just finished school, I couldn't afford it. It was all a dream for me, and hopefully one day it'd come to to reality. I knew straight away that this was a very good, clean example, unmolested example, that had a previous owner that had looked after it and had given it a lot of TLC and was in the GTi-R community for a very long time and was well known. And I had to sacrifice another car to get this, which we all do in life. We have to sacrifice things to get what we want. And I ended up with a car, and I've probably owned it for around 4.5, 5, gone on to 5 years now, I should say. The car itself really hasn't changed that much, but it didn't need to be honest with you. The car was very clean, very straight, great body, great paint, mechanically great as well. So there's no need for me to change the car up a lot. But yeah, I've tried to improve things, things that are still available for this car from Nissan personally as well. I like to keep it OEM or OEM plus, as people like to say these days. So that's my thing with the car. I really don't want it to be, cut up, or I just want to try and just keep it clean. So when people do see it at a Cars and Coffee, or or even driving on the road, whenever it's on the road, I guess, it's not broken down. People appreciate that it's still in pretty good original condition as it came out the factory from Nissan over 30 years ago. So the plan is just to improve the car still as much as I can and just clean it up, stack parts in the garage for a rainy day. Whoever owns one of these cars obviously knows that parts are getting harder to get, even from Nissan now. And luckily for us, we don't have to pay the NISMO tax for most things like GTi-R owners do. But for the most part, you can still get a few parts with this car, but they are starting to get on now, and parts are getting harder to find. But yeah, that's the vision I have for this car, is to just to keep it OEM plus, keep it clean, where everyone can appreciate it. I can appreciate it. I appreciate driving it. I want it to be streetable. I want it to be drivable. And that's the plans I have for the car. So it's not finished yet. So obviously, guys, this is the heartbeat of the GTi-R, the SR20 DET. Fairly standard, I'd have to say, which is pretty uncommon on these cars these days now. Everyone likes to put bigger turbos on them and front mounts and all that other stuff. But for me personally, I wanted to go down the route of OEM. I just think it just looks. I love the factory look. Back in the day, the rally, people used to call it the interwarmer. But for me personally, this is a street car. It's not a race car. It's not a rally car. That's how it came out from Nissan. Nissan spent years and millions of dollars of development, and I'm happy that I've kept the OEM top mount. Obviously, with that is the bonus of not having a cutout front bar for the front mount. Some people like that look. I don't mind it, but personally, again, nothing beats an uncut front GTi-R bar. We know how hard they are to find now, these front bumpers. The motor will come out, everything will come out. We'll respray the engine bay to match the outside.
I just want to point out the expansion tank.
Yep.
It's not yellow.
So that is actually a reproduction part of Nissan, which is still available, same as the cap. Mine, like you said, was a yellow tinge to it, and I couldn't stand it. It was like it was an eyesore when you open the bonnet, and little things like this stand out, with a car. So that's a brand new part from Nissan. I've got a few brackets zinc coated as well recently. Again, that corrosion after 30 plus years, and they start to rust. So I've zinc coated those as best as I could.
I've probably because of me not seeing one of these in original form, kind of.
Yep.
I see the throttle cable, the way the butterfly is
Yeah.
routed.
Yep.
And this is a stock intake, which is kind of like a two-piece.
Correct. Yes.
I've never seen that
Yeah,
before. So
correct.
when I see something I've never seen before,
Yeah.
or
No,
never properly
you're
been
right-
exposed
you're right
to,
in
I
saying
kind of
that.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, you're right in saying that. So obviously, this SR20 has its own differences to like a 200 SX SR20. I feel that Nissan did spend the time and money and you know the testing, make these cars perform well in the WRC. You can throw a bigger turbo on there, you can put it on the 85 and still get, you know, 280, 300 kilowatts and still be a reliable car, a reliable motor. You know, everyone knows how good they are, the SR20s. So for me personally, I'm very lucky that the previous owner was a mechanic, and it has got a forged bottom end. So if I choose to go down the route of, you know, the bigger turbo, E85, more boost, I've kind of got that headroom that I have that option. But for now, it's still running the stock T28, pretty much standard boost as well. But like I said, I do have that option if I want to go, that the bottom end has been forged already. But for the most part, it's all standard. We've just got I think it's a Blitz air filter, or obviously that strut bar. I was very lucky to get. I had the car for a couple of years, and out of the blue, the owner called me one day to say, "Hey man, I'm doing the garage clean out, and I forgot I had this part in the garage, and it's all been painted." So of course I went crazy. I went up there straight away and collected it and put on the car straight away. So it just adds that little bit of, you know, the period correct, you know, parts on the car, which is what I'm after. And it's a Nismo option, you know, strut brace, so it adds to the car. People like to call them the umbrella model. I don't know why, maybe it likes to drive the price up a little bit when they say it's the umbrella model, but obviously this one being a 94, it never did come out with the umbrella. I'm lucky, I still have the umbrella in there. It's in pretty good condition. Everything works. I've never opened it, to be honest with you.
You don't need to, yeah. As long as it's
but yeah, it's obviously, you know, got some wear and tear on it from age and whatever. But for the most part, it's an original umbrella from Nissan. Shouldn't be on the car because it's not the actual model that came with the umbrella, but again, I'll take it. You know, it's just another cool little feature that this car has that is a little bit different. Not too sure how many people know about the umbrella. Whatever I could buy brand new still from Nissan, I bought brand new. If I couldn't buy it brand new and it was discontinued from Nissan, it's been restored, refurbished, whatever you want to call it, and back on the car. The Kakimoto exhaust is a custom made to order exhaust. They're not off the shelf item. So that took a couple months to come over from Japan. And again, just keeping the 90s JDM theme. That's the exhaust I wanted to go for. I wanted an exhaust that followed the OEM route. I didn't want a big fart cannon hanging out the side. I didn't want it to be loud and obnoxious. I just wanted it to be a clean exiting exhaust. And this was the best exhaust I found. To be honest with you, it is a little bit quieter. It's too quiet for my liking, but at the end of the day, guys, I'm a family man. I've got kids in the car, especially people like Jay from Front Runner Motorsports. Jay, if you're watching, mate, he's been a top guy. He's been a top guy. I call him pretty much all the time, and I always bust his balls for questions and advice, and he's always happy to help. So having people like that in the GTi-R community is really, really good for everyone who owns these cars, because like I said earlier, it's a very niche community, the GTi-R community. It's not like the GTR scene or the Evo scene. You know, the GTi-Rs, you either know them or you don't know them. And to be fair, most of the Yanks now that they've got their 25-year rule, they really didn't know about these cars. And there's some influencers now that are getting these cars and doing them up, and you know, people don't know what a Pulsar GTi-R is in America. The cleaner and the good examples now are getting harder to find, and they are starting to go up in price a little bit, not a hell of a lot, but.
Then I've seen like a cream one for sale with the round lights in front. It's kind of like a special auto.
Yeah, so that's an RV. That's an RV version. So Nissan made two variants. The RA, which is what this one is, that was a street version of the GTi-R.
Retirement annuity.
Yeah. And then the RB was more of a stripped out, ready to go rally version.
Okay. So race based.
Pretty much, yeah. No air conditioning, no power windows, it had roll up windows. People who know these cars know the differences, you know. Hands.
The RBs, did they do anything like specific in the engine to like a beefier piston
not
or
from what I know.
collider conrod or something?
The WRC cars were obviously different.
Yeah.
The Group N cars, I think, were really pretty much a road going version of the RB, apart from like a roll cage, and they were stripped out.
Yeah.
Power wise, I'm pretty sure they were pretty much standard. They really couldn't touch a lot.
Yeah.
The WRC car, which rallied in 91 and 92, obviously that was a full Nissan Works rally car.
Yeah.
So that was they could up the power there. They could do bigger brakes, better suspension, and there were differences, yes, definitely. But when it comes to the street cars, and the RBs are hard to find, and they are going for more money.
But like for myself and my viewers, I know a lot of you guys, this is a dream car for a lot of you guys. And South Africa or certain markets obviously didn't get this car. It was import only, and because of that, like I thought, let me do this video today. Got a true enthusiast over here, just to share, you know, the journey, the passion. Like that. If you like this video and you want to see more content like this, subscribe. This is what we do. Just share the passion that people have for their cars, and the hard work that was put into it. And we can all come and sit on our couches and admire the next person's car, because that's what it's all about. And yeah, catch you on the next one.